Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. Got cheated on and found out on my birthday. I had been talking to this girl for a couple of months at college, and things were getting pretty serious. And over winter break, we decided to be exclusive, and things were going great until after Christmas, she became very distant. I should have known something bad was going to happen at this point, but I texted her and asked her what was going on, and she said, "I really like you, but I'm super overwhelmed and I'm going to be super busy, so I don't know if we can have a serious relationship." And I was fine with that. I was in no rush, and we agreed that we would give it a chance. So break finally ended and I get back to school, and the first 2 nights we're back, she stays at this apartment that I know to be her friend's apartment, but I didn't know what friends. I was under the impression it was some other girlfriend's apartment. Then, the 3rd night, I finally get to see her and things go back to normal. It was super fun and I trusted her again. The very next night is my birthday, and she invites me out to the bars. However, the whole night she was talking to this other guy, and I was starting to worry. So I introduced myself to him, and it turned out to be one of her friends that she always told me not to worry about. The way they were talking, I could tell it was more than that. And at the end of the night, her best friend brings me to the side and says, "I'm going to be straight up with you. That is her boyfriend, and she's going home with him tonight." They had started dating less than a week ago. So apparently, she was too busy and overwhelmed to be in a serious relationship with me, but she went ahead and started dating this guy she told me not to worry about. And the worst part was all my friends saw it go down, and I looked like an idiot, and she still never told me herself. She just had her best friend explain it to me, and I went home and blocked her. Worst birthday ever, and my trust issues are through the roof. And her best friend saying that to me is just replaying over and over in my head, and I feel so stupid. First reaction from the redeeming lad. You've got a lot many things to look forward to in life, my man. The half-baked relationship should be least of your worries. Next up, premature Pete thinks, why would she even invite you out if she intended to go home with some other guy? Next off from Groovy Singing 0. That's what I was thinking too. Like, that's especially effed up. Automatic Pace 6000 chimes in. You should have hooked up with another girl and went home with her. Damage 4689 thinks, right? The level of disrespect. What a hoe. Groovy Singing 0 jumps back in. That girl is real weirdo. Forget she ever existed and move on. Mark with mouth piles on. To be honest, and with no disrespect, man, F her and her boyfriend and her best friend forever. Just plainly ignore them no matter what happens. Mention clearly to your friends that to never bring this topic again, and if she or anyone wants to talk again, just show the middle finger and move on. Bear 1037 rounds out the comments. What a slut. Don't let this drag you down for years, buddy. You're still in college, so it is way too early to settle down and plan on getting serious anyway. On to the next, then on to the next, then on to the next, then on to the next after that. Put this crap out of your head and go right on forward and meet the next girl. This is a time of your life when you should be having fun. All the fun you can. Don't let any of these crap bag people take that from you. Someday down the road, you'll meet the one we're settling down with. Trust and believe you will do so much better than this. Moving on. Wife's uber-religious aunt. This story is not about me and my wife, but about her Aunt Dory and Uncle Bob. A little backstory. My wife comes from an incredibly conservative Christian religious family. Up until the mid-80s, their advice to members included no jewelry, women were to abstain from wearing slacks or pants, and they were discouraged to cut their hair. My wife doesn't follow all the tenets, but she is pretty puritanical in her beliefs. And she practically worships the ground her Aunt Dory walks on. Aunt Dory is a rock star in their church. She's tall and statuesque and serves on the finance committee and teaches Sunday school. Dory graduated college with a degree in finance and worked her way up the ranks in a firm that specializes in forensic accounting. It's kind of hush-hush in the family, but I'm pretty sure she worked for a company that subcontracts with the government to investigate organized crime. Anyways, this story starts years ago when my wife and I were in a nearby indoor shopping mall. Up ahead of us, we see Aunt Dory come out of the Fredericks of Hollywood lingerie store with 2 large, full bags of clothing. This is not your run-of-the-mill lingerie. This place sells the raunchy, sex kitten kind of undergarments, garter belts, baby doll nighties. You get the drift. Definitely out of character for a church matriarch. Dory sees us, we see her, and there is an incredibly awkward pause as her face turns scarlet. She says, "Hi," and then skedaddles as fast as she can. My wife and I laugh a bit and I say, half-jokingly, I hope that was for Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob is the polar opposite of Dory. He's short, round, and decidedly unmotivated. He's been a bus driver for as long as we've known him, and he does not seem to have any desire to advance any further than doing 40 hours a week and just above minimum wage. So I don't think much more of the chance meeting, but apparently my comment really bothered my wife. Next thing I know, she told me she's having lunch without Dory on Saturday. They go. Wife comes home. I can tell something is off. She seems sad, depressed, very melancholy, and is barely speaking a word. It takes a few days, but my wife finally tells me the story. Apparently, Aunt Dory worked on a case that involved a lot of late nights with a tight-knit team that included an older gentleman in one of the alphabet agencies. Dory and he got close, and one night she cheated on Uncle Bob on a conference room table. Aunt Dory immediately felt incredibly guilty and went straight home and told Bob what she had done. Her reason for telling the whole sordid story to my wife was because she said 15 minutes of passion were not worth ruining her life, her marriage, and causing eternal damnation. Here's where the story takes a strange turn. Uncle Bob didn't divorce her. He gave her an ultimatum. Apparently, Dory and Bob were not intimate very often, and Bob decided if he was going to stay with Dory, she could no longer tell him no. My lecherous brain, of course, turned this into a free use scenario. In addition, Bob told Dory she needed to spice up the bedroom by regularly buying sexy outfits and modeling them for him. We caught her in one of her semi-annual trips to the mall. He also made her step away from the work contract and discontinue any association with her older client. Bob and Dory are still married to this day, and they always sit close together in their church pew with his arm adoringly tight around her shoulders. And I can't help but smile knowing that Bob may have gotten cheated on, but in the end, seems pretty happy with the result. Our first response comes from accomplice risk Knighty. So basically he made her quit her job, of course get ties with the affair partner, and whenever he wants sex, she can't refuse understandably, and is pretty much his jailbird. I would say it's an unhealthy marriage, but then again, Dory caused this mess, now she has to lay in it. Not only that, but she disappointed your wife because your wife looked up to her. Now she's going to see her differently. The OP replies, you would think she'd resent him for their new relationship dynamic, but this all happened over 20 years ago, and they're still married and seem really, really happy. And yes, this jolted my wife pretty hard. She always thought her Aunt Dory was perfect, and this revelation rocked her world. One more thought from Arkansas 73. It happens, but is rare. Occasionally an affair, a one-night stand and the betrayed spouse learning of it, can turn things around for a couple, and makes them appreciate one another and can strengthen their bond. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for me when my wife decided to cheat, but I do know of 3 times where this has happened. This is the third. The other countless, at least 200-300 times I've learned of these things, cheating destroyed the relationship permanently. It was unable to recover. Kudos to Uncle Bob, who was able to grasp victory from the jaws of defeat. Next up, is she cheating? I've been with my now wife for 17 years. We met in secondary school, high school, and have been together ever since. I like to think, in time, that we have grown to know each other pretty well. But lately, she changed a lot. We are both 32, and I am saving for us to buy our first house, and we have 3 children together. She has started smoking, which is the most bizarre thing to do at 32 years of age. I spoken to her about it, and she ignores me. I tell her to quiet, and she just carries on. She recently got her nose pierced. I'm a big believer in your body, your life. I don't tell her what to do, but I did tell her I don't like the idea of a nose piercing, and she went and got one anyway without warning. She made these new friends and goes out drinking all the time. Seems to plan them for nights that I am on call, so I have to get parents involved in babysitting if I get called out, which is always a big pain in the butt. She's forever on her phone, and recently has started to completely blank me. I tried holding her in bed the other night, and she just kept pulling away like I was some annoyance. This next bit I'm not overly proud of, but I went for her phone, and when I unlocked it, there was a blank WhatsApp chat to some guy. No chats on it, but it was open. Almost like she deletes them often. I asked her who he is, and she said he used to go to primary school with her and lives in Birmingham now. No idea why she would need his number then. She posted on Snapchat the other night, when I was called out, a selfie with the caption, "Lonely." I'm sure some of these I'm reading too far into, but I am so lost. I don't know what to do. I could bring it up, she seems super calm about it all, and just says she isn't. Please, some friendly advice might ease my thoughts instead of being in this house with someone who I feel is trying to push me away, so I leave her instead of her being the bad guy. Burst reaction, Angel Z Play says, midlife crisis. Rampage 86 says, 32 is not midlife, but I agree. She's experienced some sort of identity crisis maybe. Another insightful thought from Not Rick Deckard 1982 says, one of two paths here. Path 1 is you confront now. This is going to take you being extremely centered, calm, and strong. You sit her down, look her in the eye, and just say, I know about you and guy's name. Out of respect for you and our past, I'm giving you one chance to tell me everything now. If she gets mad, you walk away. If she gets defensive, you shrug your shoulders and walk away. You don't tell her what you know and what you don't know, and you don't tell her how you know and what you know. You need to understand that if she confesses something, it will be about 1% of what has actually occurred. Texting a lot means sexing. A kiss is sex, etc. Path 2 is you get very quiet and very observant. Document everything. Get your hands on all the data you can. When she sees you back off, she'll get sloppy if she's cheating. Back up her phone, back up her computer. Quietly validate who she's with when she's out, etc. I advise Path 2 at this point. If you proceed with Path 1, don't mess it up. Granach decides to weigh in. She is changing, that is for sure. Why though? Maybe she just wants to experience something new, but if that also includes her love life, is something only she knows. These new friends that she is hanging out with, what are that for people? Are they married, single, or divorced? Could there be drugs involved, maybe? How does she get in contact with those people? Have you ever been invited to join them? Do you know these people? Have you ever told her that you feel rejected by her? How would she react if you act like she does? The OP replies, never been invited. She met them all through work and they're all younger than her. One of them is cheating on her partner with a guy from their work as well. I'm worried they could be influencing her to have her cake and eat it, as they say. Director 20530 says, red flags everywhere. I would recommend gathering as much information as possible. Install cameras and have voice-activated recorders throughout the house. Don't be shy to check her phone. Activate Find My Phone if she has an iPhone. She has a right to privacy, not secrecy. I found all the information I needed with these devices. You may have to hire a PI if she is extremely careful with her activities. My wake-up call came when she started smoking pot. She was a teetotaler. She turned her nose up at anyone drinking a beer or having a mixed drink. Who introduced her to pot? Who was her supplier? Why did she become 420 friendly so suddenly? The affair partner, of course. He smoked and she wanted to share that experience with him. Your wife could be hanging out with smokers and she wants to be part of the crowd. That is one explanation, but the loss of affection towards you concerns me. Be vigilant. Next up, I feel terrible as I took part in cheating. This one is a real crack storm. For clarification, I'm a female lesbian. I went away for Hen's weekend with some women, and the whole ride there, one of them, let's call her Ashley, complained about her fiancé the whole bus ride there. She told us about the fact their relationship is pretty much non-existent, that they haven't slept in the same bed for a year, that if they do anything sexual, she cries afterwards, but she's scared to leave him because she has in the past, and he kicked her and their 2 young sons out, under the age of 5. Many drinks later, the bride mentioned my sexuality, and the others, to which Ashley mentioned she had never been with a woman before, but would try it. The drunker she got, the more flirtatious she got. At the end of a lot of bar hopping, once we all got back to the hotel, Ashley and I did the deed. She now thinks that maybe she isn't straight. The day after, she is still flirty and giddy about what happened. I think we were all still drunk. Keeps bringing it up, etc. And the day after we get home, she messages me and admits she has feelings for me. Now I've been cheated on before twice, and I hate cheaters. I've also never slept with someone who I'm not in a relationship with before. It's a personal moral choice of mine. I told her nothing is happening between us while she is with her fiancé. I have caught some feelings for her, but deep down, I know I can never trust her. She tells me they have broken up many times in the past, that her family hates him, and she is only with him for the kid's sake. We have met up to talk about what the hell we are going to do, but the whole time she just whines about her fiancé. I think it may have just been used as an outing, as an escape. I have mentioned to her that we should just cut ties completely, but she refuses. If anything, she says she wants to stay friends. With the wedding coming up soon, with both of us being in the bridal party, I have to keep things civil for the bride's sake. Yeah, she knows what happened. As I write this, I feel guilt, shame, scared that I've become someone to hate, betrayed, used, and all the rest. Has anyone else been in a similar situation? How did you cope? First reaction from NB Dynex. Well, you are just as much, if not more of a POS as the woman you helped cheat. If you are not planning on telling your partner, why are you posting this? Does it stroke your ego to know that you ruined a marriage before it even began? BOP replies, I am planning on telling him. After my best friend's wedding, I don't want to ruin her special day. She doesn't deserve to get burnt too. And no, it doesn't stroke my ego. This is disgusting. I would take it back in a heartbeat if I could. I actually hate myself over it. Final thought coming from Similar Prize 3533. Perhaps reach out to this woman's fiance. See if he actually is how she says she is. She comes off as a me type person. For someone who has been in his shoes, you should tell him of the affair. It seems like the only path that would lead you back toward your moral high ground.